Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of AWS Mastery course. So in the last session we have understood about the components of VPC, and we have understood like what is VPC. So in this particular session we are going to set up our VPC, we are going to set up our subnets, we are going to understand like how many types of subnets are there and how subnets are important when we are creating VPC. So in this particular session we are going to perform all these things in a practical manner. So now let's start the session. So in this particular session, we are going to understand, or we can say we are going to learn about the subnet, like how we can configure our subnet, how we can set up our subnet, how we can configure our public and private subnet as well. Because I've already told you there are two types of subnets. First one is public and the second one is private. Okay. So now let's understand about the subnet. So subnet is basically a segment of IP range within a VPC. Okay, so let's suppose we are having IP, so our range from one place to another place. So it's a kind of range of IP within a, I can say, VPC. So we can actually group our resources based on their access requirement. Okay, so we have two types of subnets. First one is private and the another one is public. Okay, so if I talk about public, it actually application like our EC2. So we this public subnet allow our application like EC to connect with the internet directly. So the services which are working in, I can say, at the front, so these services can be connect with the internet easily with the help of public subnet. Okay, whether it can be our web server, or I can say our instances overall, so they can be actually connect with the internet with the help of public subnet. Now let's talk about the private. So the private subnet is something like the services which are isolated, the services which require security, the services which are having the sensitive information or sensitive data, like our databases, like our backend application. So we generally use private subnet in order to connect with the internet. Okay, so basically these subnets, like this private subnet, is basically it is isolated from the internet. Okay, so we can say like whatever the services which we are having, like the private applications or the applications which are having sensitive information, so we can actually use private subnet for these kind of services. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood about this. So now let's understand the practical implementation of subnet, how we can create the subnet and how we can use the subnet. So now let's just go to our AWS console. So now as you can see, like I am in my AWS console home, and now let's try to create subnet. So in order to implement the subnet or understand the practical implementation of subnet, let's just search for subnet and you will see lots of options. So we need to click on this subnet which is having a VPC feature. So subnet with a VPC feature. So as you can see, like I'm having already lots of subnets which are running, and these subnets are associated with different services which I'm actually having. So now let's try to create a new subnet. So let's just click over here, and in order to create a subnet we need to assign a VPC ID. What we need to assign? We need to assign a VPC ID. So by default we are having this one. Okay, so you can choose this default, or otherwise you can create I can say VPC ID by your own. So first I'm just going with this default thing. Okay, and as you can see everything is already defined. And for the subnet I'm just giving my subnet as a name, my subnet 852. And availability zone, if you want, if you are having any preference, you can choose that. Otherwise you can just leave this thing as it is. So let's suppose I'm choosing like US East North Virginia. It totally depends on me. Then we are having like IPv4 range, and then we are having this CIDR. So CIDR is basically classless interdomain range, means we are having a range of subnet or something like that. So as of now, as you can see, I'm having this IP address. Okay, as you can see, so I'm just going to give us the give the range of VPC CIDR block. So the same I'm going to give 772.31.0.0 slash. Earlier it was from 2016, now from I can say 16 to 20. So we are having 4096 IPs. So I'm just doing the subnetting kind of thing. Okay, next we are having tags option. It is kind of optional, so we don't need to, I can say, choose this. And now let's just click on create subnet. So it is saying it is overlapping. So let's see why it is overlapping. Okay, now let's click over here. Again it is saying it is overlapping, so we need to, I can say, change this. Okay, so that it should not be, overlap. Okay, so we are getting this issue because this IP is already being assigned to this particular VPC, like the default one which we have actually choose. So in order to get the different one, like I need what I can say, configure a VPC again, because we are just using default and it is being used by some other subnet. Okay, so we are having different options we can do. So we can create we can delete the existing subnet. So first let's just see like how, by deleting the existing subnets. So let me just open into another section, another window, and we are having this VPC console. So these are the subnets which I'm having. Let's delete these subnets. So I'm just deleting the existing subnets. So I have deleted the subnets, and this subnet is actually running one subnet. Let's delete this as well. Okay, so this subnet cannot be deleted. So now, okay, this is the only subnet which is actually working already, and this is the default one. That's why it is not being deleted. So let's just see. Let's try to configure the VPC first, so that we can have these kind of options. Okay, so this is the default one which we are actually using. If I delete this VPC, so we can say there will be, okay, so it is saying unable to delete. So let's just create a new VPC. So it is saying VPC or VPC and more. So let's just click create this VPC. And in order to create the VPC, I'm just giving the name tag. It is, again, it is optional. So I'm just giving my VPC. Okay, I'm just giving my VPC, and here I'm just giving the one kind of CIDR. Earlier, like we were having the CIDR which was being used by the default one, so that's why we were facing the issue. So now let's just use this CIDR 10.0.0, okay, slash, okay. So the blocks should be from 16 to 28, like you can choose between these things. And then let's create the VPC. So we have successfully created the VPC, and now if we go to our subnet and if we'll click over here, you will see we'll be getting the default. Okay, still we are getting the default one. So let's refresh it, and as you can see, we are getting this one as well, like my VPC. So what we have done, we have created one VPC. Okay, and with this VPC we are just we are just connecting this thing. Okay, and now we have created this VPC, and now again VPC setting, like I'm just giving the name like my sorry, we are creating a subnet, so I'm just giving the name as my subnet. Availability zone totally depends on you. Let's just click over here, and I'm saying we have this preference, we can use this. And then we are having the range, then .0.0 slash 20. So this is the valid range we are having. And if we click on create, so as you can see, we are successfully able to create the subnet, and we have created a subnet actually. Okay, so this is how we can create a subnet. And if we try to open this subnet first, so as you can see, we are getting all the information related to subnet, and we are having the what I can say, route table, we are having the network ACL. So we are having each and everything. And if I talk about the CIDR, so as of now we don't have any reserved CIDR over here. If we are having, we will be having over there only. Okay, so this is how we can create VPC and subnet. So now as you can see, we have created one VPC, we have created one what I can say, subnet. Now let's try to connect this VPC with our EC2 instance, because I've already told you. So now let's just click on EC2. Like let's just I can search for EC2. As you can see, like instances are like it is being loaded. It will take some time. Let's just click over here. Okay, and here we are getting the option as launch instances, because like why I'm just moving fast, because you have already understood all these things. Okay, so now we are having instance name. I'm just saying like my win, like I'm just creating a Windows instance. Let's just click over here. So I have given one name like my win, and then I have choose this Windows machine. Then we are having instance type by default, and for key pair, like let's just create one new key pair. I'm just saying my win, and let's just click over here. Okay, so we have successfully created one key pair, and rest everything is quite similar. And now we are just trying to connect this our subnet, which sorry, VPC and subnet with this particular EC2 instance. So let's just click over here like the added one, and as you can see we are having the default one. Now let's just click over here. So you will see my VPC. Let's just click over here, and when you will click on my VPC, you will see my subnet which we have created. So now what I'm actually doing, I'm just assigning my VPC to this EC2. Okay, so whatever the things I'm actually going to do, I can say related to this particular what I can say EC2 instance, we are just going to do all these things with the related to this VPC actually. Okay, so this EC2 instance is being connected with this particular VPC. Okay, so now again what you have to do, you just have to launch this instance. I'm not launching this instance yet because you already know how to launch, but I just showed you like how you can actually connect your VPC and subnet with the, I can say, your EC2 instance. And here you are creating, if you want to create a new subnet, you can create a new subnet. But the VPC when you are choosing and the subnet associated with the VPC is going to get attached by default. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood about the VPC, like how we can create VPC, how we can set up subnets and all. So that's it for now. Let's meet in the next session. Thank you so much.